Hi everyone, today we will be making the Isabella dress. It flatters all shapes and is comfortable to wear. Add a wide belt and give it structure and shape, or just be comfortable as it is. Slip it over leggings and you're ready to go. Pockets and a V neckline, the beginner pattern construction with no zip makes this an ideal starter pattern with excellent results. Ideal in a lightweight cotton for summer or a worsted wool for winter. In a print or plain, it will demand to be worn. This style has cute pocket detail, optional belt and a simple internal overlocked finish. Enjoy these step-by-step instructions and have fun. What you need for the Isabella style: your pattern and booklet purchased, your choice of fabric. Fabric recommendations are polyester crepe, cotton satin, polyviscose, crepe de chine or satin. Please allow extra fabric to match plaids or stripes. Lightweight fabric fusing, also known as interfacing, 0.5 meters. Sewing thread, matching the base colour on the right side of the fabric. If you are using an overlocker today, you will need 4 more threads. And thread for your bobbin or shuttle. Pins, disappearing pen or marker, your choice of shears, pinking shears, fabric cutting shears and paper cutting shears. Measuring tape, optional pattern weights and your glossary terminology booklet. We also offer bundles, which include your choice of fabric, lightweight fabric fusing, also known as interfacing, 0.5 meters, sewing thread, matching the base colour on the right side of your chosen fabric. Before you cut your fabric, please refer to the chart on your pattern sheet. Each size has a different cut line. Then cut your paper pattern pieces out. Fabric preparation. Check your iron heat on a scrap piece of fabric. Always press fabric before cutting. Some fabrications can shrink. It is important to follow the grain lines stated on your pattern. When cutting, you can either trace around your pattern pieces or pin onto the fabric. Make sure you snip your notches and mark darts within the seam allowance if needed. If fabric is slippery to cut, it is useful to add an additional layer of paper underneath the fabric. Cutting your garment. Firstly, we suggest you refer to the lay plans provided in the booklet. Depending on the size you cut today, will depend on the amount of fabric needed. Fold your fabric in half. Make sure your selvages align the edge of your cutting table. Next, place your pattern pieces on the fabric according to the lay plan provided. It is important to read the instructions on the pattern pieces, as some do require to be cut on the fold, and we suggest that these are placed on the lay plan first. Ensure all grain lines are being followed. We advise you measure the grain lines distance between the pattern and the selvage to ensure that the straight grain is consistent throughout all pieces. Then pin your pattern pieces down and cut. Make sure you snip your notches and mark darts within the seam allowance if needed. Some of your pieces may require fusing. This will be stated on the pattern as block fuse. Cut these separately and then apply to the fabric by using the iron. Step 1. Overlock the edge of the neck facing ends and pocket facings. Attach the pocket facings to the pocket bags and attach the neck facing panels together. Stitch 1 cm seam allowance wrong side up. Press the facing seams open and the pocket seam on the facing. Step 2. On the pocket facing, sew 2 mm in from the edge joining to the pocket. Step 3. Then press back at the edge joining the pocket. The facing should now be sitting on the wrong side of the pocket. Then stitch 1 cm seam allowance across the corner. trim off the corner turn facing back on itself and push the corner out using a point turner. Sew across the facing on the overlocked edge to secure the facing. Then tack the side of the pocket down, turning 1 centimetre in. Step 5. Gently press and trim any threads. Step 6. Next, place the pockets onto the front panel. You can use pins to hold into place. Stitch in 2mm in on the sides and bottom of the pocket, not the top edge. This needs to remain open. To strengthen, stitch in the corners of the pocket by 1 centimetre to hold securely. Step 7. Overlock the shoulder and side edges of the front and back panels. Step 8. Attach the shoulders together of the front and back panels. Stitch 1 centimetre seam allowance on the wrong side up. Press the seams open. Step 9. Next, attach the neck facing. Pin into place by following the notches on the neckline of the bodice. Then stitch 1 centimetre seam allowance. Remove pins as you go and trim excess threads. Step 10. Overlock the edge of the neckline edge, the seam you just stitched. Step 11. Cut a small snip at the centre front V, inverted V cut. This provides ease and reduces puckering. Press the seam to the facing. Then open the facing and stitch 2mm from the folded edge on the right side of the fabric to create a top stitch. This prevents the facing from rolling. Press the facing down and be careful not to stretch the neckline. Step 12. Fold the facing inside and press gently. Step 13. Hand tack the facing to the shoulder seam to prevent movement. Step 14. Next, stitch on wrong side up 1 centimetre seam allowance on the sleeve seam to join as one. Make sure you match the notches. Press the seams open. Step 15. Trim any loose threads. Step 16. Attach the sleeve to the armhole. Use 1 centimetre seam allowance and ensure the notches match on the front, back and underarm. Overlock the armhole seams together as one. Be careful not to stretch the armhole. We advise you pin the sleeve into place before stitching. Step 17. Fold the sleeve hem to 5mm towards the armhole. Step 18. Lightly press. To help, you can pin into place before pressing. Then fold 2mm of your 5mm to make a double turn and stitch down. Press again. Step 19. You can manually change the length of the sleeve if you wish. Ensure you add 3 cm to the finished length that you would like to allow for the hem to turn up. Step 20. We suggest you measure the width on the front and back to ensure the turn is equal. Step 21. Now find your belt pattern and stitch wrong side up 1 cm seam allowance on one side only. Press the seam open. Sew both belt panels together wrong side up 1 cm seam allowance and leave 6 cm opening at the centre to turn the belt through. Step 22. Snip away the corners inside the belt. Step 23. We suggest you measure the width of the belt to ensure it is equal. Step 24. Now using a point turner, push the belt through. Pull out the corners so they are nice and square. Use a point turner to push gently with. Press along the seam. Then either hand sew or stitch 2 mm with your machine to close the 6 cm hole. Step 25. Trim any loose threads. Step 26. Fold the skirt hem to 5 mm towards the armhole and lightly press. To help, you can pin into place before pressing. Then fold 2 mm of your 5 mm to make a double turn and stitch down. If you use pins, remove these as you go. Press again. Step 27. Now give your garment a final press. You have now finished the Isabella dress.